I got my first Prius. How about that? Never worked on a Prius before. I've been working on cars for years, but I don't have a lot of people that got Priuses, so awesome. So this is very cut and dry. I'm not going to spend like 5 minutes talking like I would do any other video to give you some like history to build up to some climactic point to just get to a freaking replacement. So very simple. This car's need a wheel bearing. I'm going to put it in EV mode or drive, and we can hear the sound of the defective bearing as the wheel rotates, and we can go ahead and proceed with the repair. I do have the emergency brake on now, and we're gonna put the cut it on, put it in drive. I'm gonna put it in. It's got an EV mode, so it's running off battery. So that's the wheel bearing. Hey, the wagon wheel effect again. Alright, so that's it. That's a bad wheel bearing. It sounds horrible. Just that brake. Regenerative braking. Alright, put it in park. Alright, so let's get pulling this off. Right, it was a 21 to get the wheel off, so no big deal with that. It's a T12, it's a T12, so it's a 30 millimeter 12 tooth socket here to get this axle nut off. So 12 tooth 30 millimeter socket, and I'm going to take the brake off as an assembly with the caliper mounting bracket. I'm not going to touch these. I'm simply just going to pry the piston forward, so to collapse the piston a little bit, take off those two 17s in the back, and take the whole unit off as one, zip tie it, and that'll be in place. I'm trying to take off the least amount of things as possible. You know, I'm lazy. Strange thing, I don't think my camera liked natural light. I'll pull this off and let it hang on the shock somewhere. We'll work our way down to the hub nut here. And ideally, you would want to break this loose first. And unfortunately, I didn't do that, take that route. So worst case scenario, I have to put the brake back on, hold the brake, and try to break this nut loose. But I got air. So if you don't have air, you can pry something in the fin here and use a breaker bar to take that off. This ABS sensor with some Freon. It made my life a little easier. Now, technically you're supposed to take this whole spindle off, try to see if I can do it without having to go through that extent. And but it came out pretty good. Awesome. I'm gonna lay this off to the side. Oh shit. Screwed up. Alright. I'll go ahead and hit the hub with cleaner and Freol. Hopefully it'll work its way down there and make things a little easier. And I'm gonna hit the inside of the hub there. What I'm thinking, because I know these tie rod ends could be a pain in the ass because of the surface area. These seem to be designed like a Chrysler. I might be wrong, but I'm not going to take my chances taking these off because these are a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take the bolts on the lower control arm off, these at the top here, and I should be able to turn the tie rod out far enough the way I can just pull it around and flip it over and remove the hub that way. It's going to be a 19 on the nut side here. Oh gosh, can't even spray. Get it off right here. Flip it upside down. I don't want to take that tie rod out because, like I said, it'd be a pain in the ass, and I ain't got to beat nothing out and break nothing. So let me get this propped up. It's now sitting on my stool here, some cardboard. If I can pull it off without having to take this shield off. Let's find out. It seems like I'm gonna have to take the shield out of here. So what I'm gonna do, just to be better safe than sorry, I'm going to clean this off with brake cleaner and just mark the orientation of where the ABS sensor is going. And if I have like a line here and a line somewhere else, I can put it back in exactly where it came from, so I don't have to worry about like running the risk of having to pull the hub back off just to get this plate back in there. Camera's in my way. I'm gonna knock the camera over here. So I got it out without messing up anything. Down there. Here I am about to wipe my marks off too. I can still see them a little bit. Alright, I'm going to take a 14, zip those off. I'm gonna try to knock this hub out here, and I got it sitting on 2 jack stands. I just got it sitting on the meat of the hub, or the spindle here. Sorry. So I got the jack stand sitting on the meat of the spindle, and on each side. And I'm just gonna take a socket, knock the center, and hopefully that whole hub assembly should come out. That worked. Let me get everything cleaned up. This is the back of the hub here. And I'm gonna get this new wheel bearing installed. Where's that old one at? Got a new part, and they ordered off Amazon, so it looks right. Everything looks like it bolts up like it's supposed to. So we'll see if it'll stand up the test of time, of course, as always. And let's see if I can remember how to get this back in here. This is the front side where the rotor goes. Just trying to. I was gonna put it on the wrong way. Alright, I think we're good. I'm gonna let the bolts do all the hard work there. I'm not gonna Loctite these, being that they didn't come with any Loctite. Am I lined up? I'm just going to get it started by hand, tighten it up in a cross pattern. What else do I gotta do? Make sure they're tight, for one. Cover your line back up. pretty sure there's a safer way of putting this back in there, but you know, it is what it is. All right, let me see if I can do a test fit with my sensor here. If I can get it over here, see if it'll work. Yeah, all right, cool. All right, let's get everything installed in reverse order. I think we're good here. The reason why you have to take the whole spindle off again is because of this cover here. You can't access those bolts as you would a traditional hub assembly. So the axle's in the way. So you really have to remove this cover to get the access to these 14mm head bolts. But I want to get everything installed in reverse order. Of course, it's pretty much self-explanatory. You go in the same way you took it off. I'll put the lower control arm bolts in there first, and of course, well, let me start over. I'll get the axle splines lined up in the hub here. Lower control arm, then I'll just install those 2 bolts for the upper control arm here and get the rotor and brake put in, brakes pumped up, and of course the ABS sensor, and we're good. One thing I noticed is that one thing I noticed is I'm right here by where the ABS sensor go, and I haven't got everything installed yet, but my tone ring, let me get it back out, isn't quite lined up even when I push the yoke all the way in. So here's my tone ring here. There's the little hole where the pickup go, and it's barely through there. So what I'm gonna do before I get everything installed, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this axle hub nut up and see if it'll draw itself through. So good, that worked out pretty well. So it was just something I noticed, and I figured, hell, we'll be trying to get no camera before I wind up actually repairing it, but just in case somebody else notices. But what happens probably is the bearings are 2-piece, and once you smash them together, it'll bring those races together, and it'll close up that gap, and this is what we got. So this is why it's important to have your, oh shit, man, my butt burning. That brake cleaner got into the cushion of the seat. This is why it's important to keep your wheel bearings tight. And God, let me get up. All right, I'm gonna carry on with repair. Got everything installed in reverse order. Didn't take no more than like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna start up, let the wheel rotate, and you can hear the difference in the tone of that wheel bearing. All right, let's see if I can get it to go in EV mode. So this is fixed. You hear the imperfections right now, the rotor hitting the brake, but that's not a big deal. Nothing's perfectly true. But this Amazon part, I guess we'll see if it'll hold up. The replacement went pretty smooth. We needed some very simplistic tools. It wasn't that bad getting the, let me turn this off, it's confusing me. And that wheel confused me a little bit. But it wasn't that bad replacing it. We just had some very simple tools we used, nothing crazy special, just a little bit of time, and we got that wheel bearing out. So it wasn't a really big job or anything. But it was my first time doing a Prius, a hybrid. I don't get to work on these cars at all because most of my clientele don't have these. You know, who needs a hybrid, right? Even though it's so fuel efficient. But other than that, we'll see if this wheel bearing stood up test time, and hopefully it'll hold up, do its thing like it's supposed to, even despite it being an Amazon part and my look with Amazon products. I didn't buy it, they did. We'll see what happens. But hey, you're not gonna know if you're not subscribed. Hit that subscription button, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, have that reassurance of my work. I'll see you on the next one.